Good morning and Namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today in the Zodiac weather. My name is Christopher Oteki. I call myself the Sensei to Serious Joy. I'm here to stand in my heart each day and walk in the light. It is a pleasure to light walk with you, my friend. I'm lovecasting live in 5 dimensions in the beautiful Temple of Gaia on Thursday, May 28th, 2015. And today will be a God-ruled day as Step 7 rules the day. Now, before I get started with today, I just want to say my apologies for not being on the air yesterday. Monday was hard. I went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs on Monday. I don't know about you, but it was a very difficult day. I have some major transformations. I also have to say happy birthday to my son today. He turns 18. He's a Step 7 Gemini. And so today is kind of a interesting day as I see my life passing before my eyes. And I'm grateful. That's what I want to say. Grateful for you showing up. And please excuse me for not being able to come out yesterday. I'm doing so much at the same time right now, trying to keep things moving forward. It is sometimes difficult to be human, is it not? Well, today, Step 7 rules the day. And ironically, Step 7 is about spirit. So today, we connect to spirit in order to understand our place as humans. We're in Gemini, which means we are exploring our thoughts right now and exploring our mind. And today, when Step 7 rules the day, this is actually one of the few days where truth may come out. The real truth, especially with Mercury retrograde. It could be truths you've wanted to say for a long time. It may be truths you've wanted to hear for a long time. But you'll find, and I'll show you in the cosmic clock, that everything is lined up to show you some of the truths. And when I say truth, I mean spiritual truth. That's what Step 7 goes to. It goes to our spiritual essence, our non-tangible before we become tangible. But before we describe how to connect to the non-tangible, let's first tame our brain, shall we? With the phrase of today. I am listening to my heart today, and I am ready to affirm. I'm listening to my heart, and I'm ready to affirm. Now really, honestly, what I just described, listening to your heart and affirming, that's basically what happens when people get a reading. So when people get a reading from me, what they're doing the whole time is listening to their heart. If it resonates with them, it affirms. They're like, oh my God, that's so true. Right? And when you get a reading from someone, you listen to that person to see if they're accurate or not accurate, right? But you listen. Today, same thing, my friend. It's time to listen. This time to the quiet voice inside of you. Listen to the little moments. Listen to the little clues, right? And when they affirm, be willing to say, that's correct. Yes, that is me. Yes, I affirm. That is a mirror image of me. Yes, that is how I feel. Right? So it's kind of a hallelujah day, or like I like to say, a hallelujah day, where you are listening and affirming for certain truths in your life. So let's do the affirmation one more time to keep our mind in kind. Today, I am listening to my heart and ready to affirm. And so it is, because I said so. I thought so. Now, the ruling step of the day is Step 7. And here in the first 11 steps here in Gemini, I'm going into a little more detail in the Mercury retrograde about how the steps actually work. It turns out that when we get to Step 7, or when God consciousness unfolds to the 7th point, it is I sense. I sense is our psychic awareness or our spirit. Our spirit comes in purely through the I sense channel. Now it's interesting, if you are a follower of Christianity, there is the myth that God created the earth in 7 days, and on the 7th day he rested. Well, I'll tell you this, on the 7th step, that's exactly what we do. We rest, we listen, and we tune in to God consciousness. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of ways that this can add up here, but my favorite way is 2 plus 5, all right? When you have a 2 plus 5 makes 7, you can open up to your psychic side by being mindful, 5, of your 2 feelings. So today, by me asking you to be mindful of your heart, I'm actually asking you to be mindful of your feelings as it relates to your heart. Because whenever we really listen to any part of us, we're listening to our feelings with the exception of our mind. But everything else comes from our feelings. Even when our body talks to us, we feel pain or we feel hungry, right? It all comes through our feelings. So my favorite way to open up the 7 is to feel it too, and then be mindful of the 5. So be mindful, 5, of our feelings. Now there's other ways you can connect to spirit. One is kind of through church and the hallelujah moment. That would be a 3, I believe, and then a 4, some sort of major belonging incident that happens. So you find someone instantly that belongs, you instantly attract. So a 3 plus 4 makes 7 is a hallelujah, right? But then there's another way too, which is the way I described today. And that would be the 1 + 6 makes 7 method of bringing consciousness together, which is to open your heart, I love, and then 6, open to receiving. So if you fill your heart with love and you open to receiving, which is basically saying if you listen to it, you will find that, boom, you're also in the 7th state, right? Then there's also, of course, 0 + 7, which I would call the Jesus Christ method. You're not here and then you completely are. You know what I mean? I don't know anyone else who can do 0 to 7. I can't do 0 to 7. I've got to start with my feelings and add on something or, you know. But you can see how in the architecture of incarnation, the steps represent consciousness and the consciousness does add up. So if you have trouble connecting to your spirit, try one of these methods and you might find that it helps. So let's take a look at the colors and the chakras involved on a spiritual day.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Well, looking at the ruling colors, as you well know, the yellow, 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 that's where I think comes in. We're in Gemini and we're exploring our thoughts. And you might think, well, the thoughts come from the brain or up in the brain area, but as far as spirituality, connection of thoughts, it actually happens in the 3rd chakra. So we are working out of our solar plexus, and this means that we are working on issues like anxiety, sleeplessness, sleep disorders, digestion disorders, all these disorders that happen there from that region, both physically and spiritually, right? A lot of people actually don't even realize that sleep disorders are often due to digestion issues. We don't realize it, but our diet often goofs up with our sleep. If you're wondering where I got that from, that's what I was thinking. So yellow is where it's at, and I'm really recommending, especially today, it's a spiritual day, that you do a little breath work through your yellow. And I'll just keep repeating this for everyone, so if you're new to join the show, you understand. If you've already heard it, and you hear it again, and you understand it, take at least 3 breaths, invisible breaths through the crown, bring it in through the crown, and basically let it out through the yellow chakra. And let all the air out. And let it out gently. And as you get better at this, you'll want to do making no noise. So basically you get complete control of the air, of letting it out. But each time you let it out, let out your anxieties as you exhale through that yellow. Let out your worry. So for instance, if you were worried about something at work, go ahead and breathe 3 times through that, through the front, okay? If you're ever worried about something from your past, blow through the back. All right, that's how it works. Everything in front of us is in front of us. Everything behind us is behind us. And that's how the chakras kind of weave things together. Now, today we also open up the crown. And the reason why it's important to clean our yellow today is because the yellow can pollute what you hear from the crown. All right? So when you log into your crown self and you listen to things, your feelings are what tell you, is this correct or not? Right? Like we said in today's message. Like, are your feelings correct? Can you affirm that? Right? So if your feelings are carrying stuff about your boss, or your feelings are carrying stuff about your father or anything else, and then all of a sudden psychically you get this intuition to call your father, well, maybe you won't call your father because you were already feeling bad about your father to begin with. And so when you get that suggestion, you dismiss it right away. So it's very important, especially today, especially in a Mercury retrograde and in Gemini, to clear out your feelings first and come to complete peace. All right? And after you've done that, then open up your crown. And if you don't know how to open up your crown, it's a very simple way. Basically, you move into a sense of gratitude. So you just become grateful for your life. You can also bow down. I always say to my clients, look at your heart and talk to it. And this bows down, and this also opens up the crown, right? Energetically, it opens up to receive. And then just listen to whatever you hear. Anything you hear, just make a note, try not to react, and we'll go on from there. So let's look at the cosmic clock and why things are so goofy today. And here we are with the cosmic clock. Well, the sun has progressed to step 7 Gemini today. Step 7 is I sense, and Gemini is I think. So we are sensing what we think today. This is the time to really ask yourself, hey, am I on the right path? Is there anything wrong here? Are there warnings? Psychic awareness is very thick. And for those people who completely do not pay attention to this, usually they have pretty vivid dreams. So I would definitely pay attention to the symbolism of your dreams in the last 24 hours. Now, the sun is involved in a stellium, and Mercury is the next planet. So Mercury today is at step 9, making our minds a bit hyperactive. Our mind wants to do something, wants to act, wants to speak. Now, don't forget, Another action is listening. So when the mind has to listen, it is actually being occupied. And that's why I always recommend in meditation that you don't try to quiet the mind, you have it listen. Because it's doing something, and it's happy it's doing something, right? And if your mind can't listen, make it listen and take notes. Now it's doing two things, okay? But that's a way to get you into that receiving. Now the mind is the middle. Our mind is between these two sides. On the one hand, the sun and our heart. And then the other is Mars. Mars today is at step 11. Step 11 is integrity, is Chiron, is Virgo. And so that means our ego is pushing for integrity. Our heart is just listening to what's right. And our mind is trying to act on whichever, right? Now, I believe that what will win here is integrity. That's what's trying to win. The highest number usually is what's trying to win, if you want to say win. But when you're in a stellium, all these planets are working together. That means our heart, our mind, and our ego are working together. Now, if those three stooges aren't on the same team, all they're going to do is fight like the three stooges, right? Yak, yak, yak. That's the way mine is. But if they're on the same team, they'll work as one. So I believe that this stellium is to get our mind as it relates to our heart, our mind as it relates to itself, Mercury, and our mind as it relates to ego, all on the same team. And who's the judge of this? The moon. The moon in Libra is trining this stellium. And that means I believe we are using our emotions to kind of feel out where we're going too far. It's very much like the three bears. Is this too hot? Is this too cold? Is this just right? And we're talking about how much love we put in at the sun, how much ego we put in our Mars, and how much thought is behind or supporting or not supporting it in the background. Well, that judgment will be left to our feelings, which is why it's very important to listen to our feelings today. And so emotions in Libra will make things maybe hypersensitive, maybe you'll feel a little oversensitive, but if you focus that inward instead of outward, you'll appreciate that hypersensitivity. If the hypersensitivity is focused outward, you will not appreciate being hypersensitive. It's only cool when you're hypersensitive to your own inner peace. Now, Venus, Her Majesty, is at step 22. Step 22 is the quantum step, so this is what it's all adding up to today is my point. All this psychic hearing, listening, is so that we can listen to Venus. Venus is in the sign of Cancer, which means our feelings, and step 22 is the quantum step. This is the step where we feel at home. So when we seek to feel at home, it's step 22 Cancer, in my opinion. At that point, we are seeking to feel home. 23 is when we really get home, but 22 is when we go home. 22 is when something happens, something big. So I'm predicting for each of the 12 zodiac signs that in the next 24 hours, you will have an emotional epiphany. You will have some sort of emotional experience. Your mind may not understand it. Your ego may not understand it. Mercury or Mars may not understand it. What am I thinking of? Oh, your heart, the sun. Think of the third planet there. It may not get it. And that's the whole point, that you're coming into a new alignment that is forcing your mind to bring together your heart, your mind to bring together your ego, and your mind to keep itself together. And the judgment of that is your feelings, right? Particularly what feels quantum, when you feel like you belong, when you feel like you're at home. When you feel like you're at home, you got the right secret recipe to that formula, right? Now, one last ingredient to this, Jupiter. Jupiter moved to step 16 while I was off the air, and step 16 is when we connect to a 7, God, right? And we talked about this already. It's a 1 + 6 connection to God. It's a loving yourself and opening up. So when it comes to our heart, we are being super sponsored, says Jupiter, to love ourselves and open ourselves up. And of course, at that point, we will see the 7. And I believe that all this pointing with the stellium and the rewriting, getting your mind around, blah, 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 is all for this Jupiter. It is also that our heart can be what rules us, which is not what's going on now if you look at the world, right? So looking at the Tower of Truth, I just want to point out that we have a wonderful, beautiful stellium here. We got the sun coming in at step 7. We have Mercury coming in at step 9. And we have Mars in at 11. What this makes is a step 2 differential. Step 2 is I feel. That means what will unite, according to the step differential, these 3 states of awareness, are feelings. So when you find the right feeling, when you feel at home, that's the term, when you feel at home, that's the point when you know you have found it. And that's how it's all architected today. So let me give you a very simple statement called the Joy Quest that'll help you blast through all this complex clockwork. Your joy question, you choose to accept it, is feel it out. You've heard this expression, feel it out. Let me just feel it out. Well, today I think I've described what feeling it out really is. I think the planets describe what feeling it out really is. We let our emotions go out there like the moon in Libra, and we trine over to it, and we feel it out like the lights have been turned off, right? Feeling around in the dark. Today, that's what it's about. Feel it out. Just feel it out. And don't just feel out the situation. Feel out, what if this happened, how would you feel? What if that happened, how would you feel? You'll find by feeling it out and directing your feelings into those directions, if you're listening, your psychic side will tell you exactly what will happen. All right? So feeling it out is actually throwing our psychic listening into the future and seeing what would manifest. Right? We just don't trust our psychic side. That's the problem. And we don't trust that what we pick up is actually how it would happen. Now, myself, I've watched this stuff long enough. You probably do too. It's so easy when it's someone else. Like, oh, you wait, she's going to leave him. I can feel it. Right? You felt it out. Right? So what I'm saying today is in your life, feel it out. Try to be, non-judgmental. Turn off that judgment and just feel out. What if this happened? Feel out what if that happened. Project yourself and listen to your feelings when it gets there. Now, if you're watched over by my personal sensei network, I'm going to help you twice today with your feelings. For one, at 9:09, I'm going to help you with where that Venus at 22 is landing in your rising sign chart. So in your long-term story, where you need to really open up and let it flow. Then at 3:03 p.m., I'm going to talk about Pluto, which is basically opposing that, and give you some clues onto some rules you have total freedom to change, says your sensei. So I write you a hall pass to change certain rules at 3:03 p.m. If you'd like to be watched over by me, it's so simple. Come on down to SeriousStory.me. You need to have your time of birth and your date of birth, and I'll be watching over you in 36 hours. Come on down to SeriousStory.me to find out more. So let's move on to today's telepathy. We're moving on to Geminis, and we talked about Gemini musicians being poets, and they know it well. Gemini politicians are quite often poets as well. And so today's topic is that I'm sending from my brain to yours. One of these three is a Gemini politician, all right? And not just a Gemini politician, but a Gemini politician with a famous quote. So which one of these am I thinking of? Is it number one, JFK, John F. Kennedy? Number two, Gemini Patrick Henry? Or number three, Gemini George H.W. Bush? Which Gemini politician am I thinking of? I'll have the answer right after this.
Can't find love? That day is over. With just 8 numbers, we can reveal all your secrets to sex and love. We call it Secrets of Birthdays, the Love and Lust Report. Find out the secret to your heart at secretsofbirthdays.com.
Welcome back to Namaste Today. So for the answer to today's telepathy, I am thinking of a Gemini politician with a famous quote. Is it number one, JFK? Ask not what your country can do for you. We know that quote, right? Is it number two, Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death? Or is it number three, George H.W. Bush, read my lips, no new taxes? Which one of those geniuses am I thinking about? Aha, the answer is Patrick Henry. Because I find it very interesting. Now, Patrick Henry is a step 7 Gemini. All right? So he was an intuitive Gemini. He listened to his intuition. Guess who else was a step 7 Gemini? John F. Kennedy. Indeed. Incidentally, George H.W. Bush has the dumbest quote out of all these people, but he's got the highest Gemini mind out of all three. So it's pretty interesting. He's a high step in his, what was his step? Step 24, I think? Step 23? I have to look him up. Oh, George Bush was step 21. That's right. Opening doors. Yeah, to one world order. Oh, just kidding. So anyways, very interesting stuff. Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. One other interesting little tidbit about that I thought I would share, just because I love sharing history, I love history, is in the audience that day when he said that, he was a governor of Virginia, was Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. And that speech where he said, give me liberty or give me death, was a speech that really turned Virginia towards the revolution. So words can be quite powerful, particularly from a Gemini. So let's move on to today's rock and roll gospel. And today we're looking at Gemini poets, and they know it, and they sing about it so well. And this one I'm just pulling out an ace, okay? One of the best Gemini musicians on the planet. I'm speaking to Stevie Nicks. Did you know she was a Gemini? She's a Grandmaster Step 5 Gemini. Step 5 Geminis have the ability to be very brilliant and simple at the same time. Grandmaster Step 5. And today I thought, I'd pull out a song that would help you keep moving, keep dreaming, and it is, of course, don't stop. I had to look at it again because thinking about tomorrow. This is actually the song that, of course, got the Clintons elected. And here, strange enough, here we are once again, right? I wonder what the Clintons will use this time. But before you go off singing songs with Stevie Nicks, let's take a look at the moods of each of your brothers and sisters today and your special soul vitamin. And today your soul vitamin is sponsored by Venus at 22 degrees Cancer. Where will the quantum emotional breakthrough be? So for each of the 12 signs, in the order of the 11 steps of serious joy, where will the emotional breakthrough be? And we will begin with the secret step, step 0's, the Scorpios. Scorpios, cloudy and feeling maybe heavy karma today, I'm afraid. But good news, the quantum breakthrough will be emotionally understanding and understanding why you've gone through certain things. Step 1, the Leos, cloudy and rather pensive today, but your quantum breakthrough will be a new spiritual calling that you have or a new spiritual understanding of yourself. Step 2, the Cancers, cloudy, nesting, and resting. Now they have Venus in their sign, so you're going to have some sort of breakthrough when it comes to ego, defenses, or character personality. Step 3, the Sagittariuses, sunny and social today, but your quantum breakthrough will be with a new trust in yourself or the beginning of a powerful transformation. Step 4, the Aquarians, cloudy and learning today, but your emotional breakthrough will be with a new lifestyle, a healing, or a new relationship to your body. Step 5, happy birthday, Geminis. You are cloudy and creative today, but look for an emotional breakthrough when it comes to your personal confidence or your finances. Might even be a surprise paycheck. Step 6, the Librans, cloudy but cool today with the moon in their sign. You can expect a breakthrough when it comes to your feelings about career or your feelings about your future. Step 7, the Pisces, cloudy, private, rather reserved today, but you will have probably the most fun breakthrough. It'll have to do with your heart, love, creativity, or children. Step 5, the house of 5, the fifth house, which is step 1. I'm all over the place in this retrograde. Step 8, the Capricorns, sunny and professional today, but I expect to have quantum breakthrough with relationships or long-term partnerships. Step 9, the Aries, cloudy and sentimental today with the moon in Libra, but expect some quantum breakthrough emotionally with your home, your family, or kind of reframing your childhood. Maybe Aries might be coming out of that whole victim mode now, which is, it's evolution, it's not bad. Step 10, the Tauruses, cloudy and hyper aware of their reality today, but look for a quantum breakthrough about your thoughts around feelings. So you may think differently about your feelings, or your feelings may lead you to think differently. And then finally, step 11's the Virgos, cloudy and rather productive today, but look for a quantum breakthrough in your social title or your reputation. I think the Virgos are going to be popular, especially since they do such great healing. So moving to our Lightwalker Parade. Hey, if you're on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. It helps us with our YouTube relationship. And on Facebook, you can be our friend by coming to soulgarden.me. And if you'd like to try a reading, a gut check, secrets of birthdays, there's so many ways to learn about yourself through my eyes. Come on down to soulmart.me. I will take care of you. And as always, please do remember that even if I'm off for a day, I will be back because I love you and I love this job. Remember to follow your feelings today, and I will see you in 24 hours with more. Until then, live, love, be.